Welcome to GoWorksheet Plus. GoWorksheet Plus is the perfect tool for creating and sharing interactive worksheets on an iPad. This tutorial will cover the process of creating and editing worksheets, and how to use the app's many options. For information on sharing, filling out, and grading GoWorksheets, please see our tutorial on GoWorksheet activities. To get started, let's create a worksheet. GoWorksheet Plus is most effective for taking an assignment that has already been designed and adding interactive options to it. So when we use the term create, that is referring to taking a worksheet created in another program and importing it to GoWorksheet Plus to create a new interactive GoWorksheet. In this section, we'll walk you through how to import an image from a PDF, an existing image file, taking a picture of an assignment with your iPad's camera, as well as organizing those worksheets. Depending on which version of the product you have, you may have pre-made curriculum already. Certain Attainment products come with access codes to unlock pre-made content. These are also available as in-app purchases. To download these, tap the gear in the upper left to access settings, and then GoWorksheet Store. If you purchased the GoWorksheet Plus curriculum product, all curriculum will be unlocked and available. If you are importing your own worksheets, it is recommended that you start with organizing folders. On the main page, the one that says GoWorksheet at the top, tap the plus sign in the upper right. Then tap New Folder. Enter the name of the curriculum and then tap Create. For this example, we'll be using Attainment's Look at Math curriculum, so I'm titling my folder Look at Math. If you decide later that you want to rename, move, or delete a folder you've created, swipe left on the folder's name to reveal those options. Once you have set up your folders, tap the folder you would like to work within. Tapping the plus sign while inside a folder will give you the option to create a document within that folder. We will go through these 5 options in order. From Document Scanner, we'll turn on your iPad's camera. Both this and the next option will require GoWorksheet to have access to the camera. This can be adjusted in iPad settings. Once the camera is on, point it at the worksheet. When GoWorksheet recognizes the boundaries of the page, it will be highlighted in green and a countdown will begin. If it is having trouble recognizing the page, try placing it on a contrasting background. After the picture is taken, it will be automatically framed as a worksheet. Enter a name and tap Create. From Camera functions similarly, but does not try to identify pages in the shot. It will simply take the entire image and convert it into a worksheet. This is useful for more visual worksheets. For example, a picture of an object where students are asked to label various parts. From Photo functions like From Camera in that it will use the entire image without scanning for pages. Tapping this will reveal your camera roll. Tap the image you would like to use to proceed. From Cloud Drive gives you the option to add files from outside of the GoWorksheet app. This supports PDFs, image files, and GoWorksheet files. By default, you will be shown iCloud Drive and files from your iPad. If your iPad is connected to Google Drive or Dropbox, you can enable those by tapping the ellipses in the upper right, then Edit. Otherwise, tap on the desired file, name it, and tap Create. To get started editing a worksheet, tap the pencil icon next to its name. Once you have a worksheet created, it is time to add questions. GoWorksheet Plus gives you a lot of creative freedom for how you want to arrange your worksheet, though as a general rule, most users are going to want to stay as close to the format of the original worksheet as possible. We will go through the question options in the order they appear, from left to right. The first option is multiple choice. Tapping this circle will create one multiple choice answer dot. Use the multiple choice text blank if you would like the dot to read a text-to-speech message when selected. Or tap the Tap to Set text next to recording to record your own audio answer. The group option will group multiple answer options together, so that when one is selected, the other choices are automatically deselected. For a question with only one correct answer, you should select this option. For a choose all that apply type question with multiple answers, disregard this option. To use, tap the group field, then enter in a title. This is usually the question number, such as multiple choice question 1 in our example. You can also just tap the text here to select the group title. The last three options are for if you are interested in auto-grading. You can set the points for each question, designate a correct answer, and prevent incorrect answers from being selected. Once you have entered all the information you need, press Done. The multiple choice option you just created will default to the center of the page. Drag it with your finger to its desired location on the page. If you hold down your finger for more than 1 second, this will bring up the options for this item. We will discuss this in more detail later in the video. The audio option allows you to include a recording or text-to-speech reading of text. This can be used for reading a line or paragraph from the worksheet, giving a description of an image, or providing additional information not already visible on the worksheet. Tapping the button will bring up a similar menu to the multiple choice option. Type in the text you would like for text-to-speech, or record yourself reading the text. The magic wand icon can be used to automatically recognize text for text-to-speech. This time-saving technique is covered near the end of the video. All menu options give the possible points choice for maximum flexibility, but most teachers will not have a reason to assign points to this option. The Record Audio option creates a button for students to record their audio. This will show up when students are filling out the worksheet, and when tapped, will give them the option to record themselves. This is presented as an alternative to the short answer option, which we will show in a bit, and allows users to type their answers. Tapping the icon creates a button. Drag it to the desired location and you should be good to go. Since this is simply an option for students to record their answers, there is not much editing necessary. However, if you would like to name this button or assign points for your own grading purposes, hold down on the icon until the menu comes up and select Edit. The link icon creates a link to a website. This will happen within the GoWorksheet app, unless you select the Open Directly toggle option. In that case, it will open in a separate app on your iPad's default browser. Use the URL field to enter the desired website and the Appearance menu to determine how the link should appear. In this example, we are selecting the hint icon and linking to a website that gives students a bit more information on the topic. Much like the Record Audio option, you will most likely not want to assign points to this item. The final option, Link Button Quick Start Video, takes you to a YouTube tutorial explaining how to set up links. The short answer icon creates a blank for student answers. When a student taps this in the student view, it will bring up a keyboard and allow them to fill in the blank. When you first tap this button, the blank will appear in the middle of the worksheet. Drag it to the desired location and use the dots surrounding the box to resize it. When you are satisfied with its size and location, tap the green check mark at the bottom of the page. To edit the details of this blank, hold your finger on it until the menu appears, then select Edit. Field Name will create a subtle gray title that will appear in the blank. If you leave it as the default option, Field Name, nothing will appear. Checking Is Name will make the blank appear as Name for students. It will also add the answer from the blank to the file name when saving the worksheet. Autocorrect will enable predictive text in student answers. Number entry will default to the number keyboards when students start typing. Any items added to the word bank will appear as options for students when filling out the form. They can normally access this by tapping the file folder icon at the top of the keyboard. However, if you check the Require Word Bank option, they will only see these words and not have the option to type their own. Use the Answer Bank to enter possible correct answers for auto-grading. Select the Ignore Case button to disregard capitalization when grading. The next three options work together as part of our drag and drop option. The icon on the left is for answers, and the icon in the middle is for questions. The third option is a bit more complicated and will be explained later. Drag and drop questions are more intuitive to see visually than to explain with words, so we are going to start with an example and then explain how to set them up. In my example, I have created a multiple choice question asking students to drag the thermometer with the highest temperature into the box. This question is not listed on the original worksheet, so I started with an audio button with a text-to-speech prompt. The student, when filling out the worksheet, would hold their finger on the thermometer with the highest temperature and then drag it to the orange box to record that as their answer. Now, to show how we set that up. Back in editor mode, tap the drag and drop answer option. I'll go through the settings in a second, but first let's stick with default and hit done. An orange box will appear in the middle of the worksheet. Drag it to the area you want to be a draggable option, resize it with the corner dots, and hit the green check mark to confirm. It will now be a draggable option, just like we saw in our example. Returning to settings, Appearance gives you options to assign icons to answers. The default, Capturing, is what we saw in the example. This will drag a copied image of the selected area. The other options will place the icon of your choice within the selected area. Choosing an icon also activates the color menu. In the student view, only the icon will drag, not the background. By default, drag and drop answers can only be placed into drag and drop question boxes, like we saw in the example. Toggling on Allow Free Placement will allow them to be dragged and placed anywhere. This is most useful for an Arranging Objects type assignment, instead of multiple choice. However, it may be helpful for a user with dexterity issues who struggles to drag the options in a single movement. Mark After Use will display a gray box around answers that have already been placed in a drag and drop question space. Text-to-speech and recording function the same as the previous times we've seen that option. The sound will play when a user taps a drag and drop answer. When creating a drag and drop question, you will be prompted to immediately place and size, then drop the target, then edit it later if need be. The first two options are the same text-to-speech or recording options we've seen for other items. In my example, I used a separate audio button for visual clarity, but if you use this option, the audio will read if a user taps on the question space directly. If you tap the Correct Answer option, you will then be prompted to tap the drag and drop answer you would like to designate as the correct answer for this question. You also have the option to turn off incorrect answers, in which case students will be able to drag other answers, but they will not be accepted in the question space. And you can turn on a reward sound when the correct answer is placed. The other two choices allow you to round the corners on an answer space or make it invisible in the student view. The drag and drop counter option works like the drag and drop question space, but is specifically for counting objects. For our example, we will create a question that asks students to drag 3 thermometers into the counter. For this to work, we need to have free placement turned on for the available answers. A few options are unique to drag and drop counters. Live Update Total Count will display a number indicating how many items have been dropped there when in Student View. If using this option, it is recommended to create a fairly large counter area so the dragged answers don't cover up the number. If this option is turned off, students will see the same number symbol that shows up in edit mode. The correct counts can be set to count for certain amounts of certain items. For example, if I was creating a worksheet that asked students to count 3 cats and 2 dogs, I could put hearts on all images of cats and stars on all images of dogs, and then set the correct count for 3 hearts and 2 stars. Finally, the Tap Area option allows you to connect an area to an object. For example, earlier I created an audio button next to the teacher's speech bubble. With a tap area, I could make it so tapping anywhere on the speech bubble makes that audio button play. To do this, tap the Tap Area icon, then the object you want the tap area to interact with. In this case, I am choosing the audio button. A blue square appears. Drag and resize this just like any other option. This box will be invisible in Student View, but tapping anywhere on the tap area in Student View will activate the audio button. Tap Areas provide a new option, Edit Paired Object. This brings up the edit menu for the object the tap area is paired to. This is also a useful feature if you have a worksheet with many tap areas and have forgotten which one is linked to which. The tap area itself has 2 editable options. The first option lets you switch the object paired to the tap area. The second option makes the paired object invisible in Student View. If I switch this on, students using my worksheet will still be able to tap the speech bubble and hear the text-to-speech audio, but will not see the audio button. Now to return to the radial menu. As a reminder, to access this, hold your finger down on any item in editor mode. With the exception of a few items already mentioned in this video, such as the tap area and its Edit Paired Object option, all items have the same menu options. Edit and Resize both return you to options we have already seen in this video. Edit brings up the menu option for the item. Resize brings you back into resize mode, the initial state when you create an item. Use the dots in the corners to change the size, then tap the green check mark. If you tap the red X, the item will not be deleted, but instead will revert to its original size. The Send to Back option helps for organizing items on the page. Items are added in layers, so that the most recently created items are in front of the older items. The only time this effect is noticeable is when items overlap. If you want an older item to be on top, select the new item and then Send to Back. This is a complicated concept and an advanced editing technique. It's important to note that many users will never end up needing to employ this feature, but let me give an example to clarify. Earlier, I added multiple choice options for question 1. I've now decided that I want to add text-to-speech audio for the question, which will cover the entire area of the question. I start with an audio button, and then a tap area linked to the audio button. Since I want the audio to read anywhere within the question area, I'm extending it over the warmer and cooler answer dots. The problem with this is since the tap area was the most recently created item, it is in front of the multiple choice options. If I go into Student View and try to select the dot for warmer, I only get the text-to-speech audio. However, if I select the tap area and then Send to Back, the tap area is now behind the dots. So if I return to Student View, the question will read when I tap anywhere within the tap area, except for the dots, which will now function as intended. Duplicate creates an exact copy of the selected item. This includes all settings in the Edit menu. So, for example, I can create a copy of my tap area on the teacher's speech bubble, and then place the new tap area over the image of the teacher. Both options, when pressed, will link back to the same audio button and read the same audio. Remove does exactly what its name would indicate. It removes or deletes an item. There is not an undo function, so be very careful with this option. For this reason, if you ever open the radial menu and decide you don't want to use any of the options, make sure to bring your finger back to the center, or even to the open part of the ring, before releasing. This will help you avoid accidental activations. By this point, we've covered most of the tools used for creating and editing worksheets. I'm going to show a few more advanced options, but most users should be ready to get started. In the upper right, we find the Page menu. This is used for adding pages to the worksheet or editing created pages. In our example, we currently have page 1. By tapping the plus sign, we can add a new page. You'll recognize all these options from when we were creating the worksheet. The page creation process is exactly the same, except you will notice a back icon in the lower left of your newly created page. In Student View, this will take you to the previous page. To navigate within Edit View, open the Page menu again and tap Page 1. Here you will see a forward icon has also been automatically added. The Edit button gives you the option to rearrange pages by using the slider on the right, or delete them by tapping the red icon on the left, then confirming. The Objects menu is a more advanced breakdown of the layers we discussed with the Send to Back feature. Objects at the top of the list are further forward, and objects near the bottom are further back. Since we used the Send to Back option on our tap area, you can see that it is at the very bottom of the list. Like I said, most users will rarely, if ever, need to use this option, and for the ones who do, the Send to Back option will cover most scenarios. But if you want to make very specific changes to object order, tap the Edit button in the upper right. Much like with pages, you can use the icon on the right to change order and the icon on the left to delete. Finally, we have the Magic Wand. This is a small icon found within the keyboard prompt that gives you the option to automatically pull text from a document. For my worksheet, I've decided to add text-to-speech audio for question 2. I start with the audio button, but instead of typing in the question, I select the Magic Wand. This shows me the document, with any text that GoWorksheet recognizes highlighted. I tap the text for question 2, then the green check mark. This automatically inputs the text into my text-speech area. This also highlights the Also Create Tap Area option. If I keep this selected and tap Done, GoWorksheet will create a tap area that covers the text I selected and links back to my audio button. Thank you for joining us on this tour of GoWorksheet's worksheet creating abilities. To learn about the student side of GoWorksheet, including assigning, filling out, and turning in worksheets, please see our GoWorksheet activities video. If you have any questions, please reach out to your account manager or email info@attainmentcompany.com.